Romantic relationships can be an anchor in the storm, or they can be the storm itself. How can you continue to show up as your best self when your partner drops a huge bomb? Stay tuned to find out. Welcome to Blissful Consults with yours truly, Dr. Cammy, a PhD licensed psychotherapist with special training in trauma informed healthcare. Elvira from Washington, D.C., wrote in with a question about how to navigate her partner's request for an open relationship. Dear Dr. Cammy, I've been in a relationship with my girlfriend for the last 3 years. I thought that overall we had a great relationship and we were both really happy. Our sex life hasn't been the best over the last year, but I didn't really think it bothered her that much. It doesn't bother me at all. Last week, out of nowhere, she told me that she wanted to have an open relationship. I immediately became defensive and shut down, which is my default when I'm upset. It's now been a week and we've barely spoken. Do you have any ideas on how I can even begin to process this? Hello, my name is Dr. Cammy, and I am the founder and president of Bliss in Being. We offer cutting edge psychotherapy and coaching for people who are ready to heal from the effects of chronic stress and trauma. I can personally help you move from the brink of burnt out to holistic thriving. It's time for you to finally enjoy the life you've worked so hard to build, and I am here to help you make it happen. When you begin to feel as though your relationship is challenging a core belief that you hold, like we are happy and connected, the first step is to really just take a deep breath and step back. In a case where your partner is seeking an open relationship, I can totally understand your proclivity to just shut down. But ultimately, the most important thing is to remain open to dialogue. So let's take a more in depth look here. Elvira, I know that you are hurt and you're totally taken off guard with this news. I want to encourage you to ground in your body, remember your worth, and examine this, at least initially, with some emotional distance. So there is space for your intellectual mind in addition to your emotional mind. We ultimately need both our intellectual mind and our emotional mind in order to get what's called our wise mind. Approach the situation with the intent to understand both yourself and your partner. I understand how difficult it may be to have your bedrock completely shaken by this, but I don't see this all as completely negative. In fact, I see a lot of good here. If your partner just mentioned this to you, I can only imagine they've been thinking about this for quite some time on their own, and they wanted to include you in the dialogue. This demonstrates respect and care for your feelings, as many others would not have had the courage to share their feelings. Now, just because your partner is being transparent doesn't mean you have to agree or comply. I do think it would benefit both of you, though, if you could at least have a conversation. One part of the conversation could include discussion around what dampened your sex life. Your partner may love your companionship and also have a need for more frequent or different forms of sexual intimacy, which is why the idea of an open relationship is being considered. Find out what caused both of you to drift apart in the beginning. Ask relevant questions like, what's caused you to want an open relationship? How do you imagine navigating our relationship as you build other relationships? How will you respond if I say I am not okay with an open relationship? And how would you feel if I asked for time to think through this with a trusted professional or a friend? Asking these questions will help you narrow the conversation and evaluate your next steps. When in doubt, if you believe that you can't power through the conversation without lashing out, breaking down, or doing something that you'd regret later, you can absolutely consult with a couple therapist who specializes in polyamory. That is totally reasonable. And if you want to work with me, feel free to contact me. I also have a lot of other great referrals I can send you to. You may also want to consider both of your sexual needs and desires. Perhaps your partner has a new sexual fantasy that they don't believe you can or would want to fulfill, but that an outside party could. Let them know that they can actually talk to you about that, even though it might be hard. Elvira, be open to yourself as well. You might not be a fan of open relationships, and you might have a lot of reservations when it comes to even discussing that possibility. And that's okay. It's important to know where you stand and have compassion for where you are right now. You may also want to consider working with a therapist who can help you sort through your personal reactions and responses to this concept and your sexual identity more generally speaking. I have seen polyamory work wonders for many relationships. I've also seen it go majorly sideways, especially when one partner is highly ambivalent and they just go along with it to appease the other partner. It's hard to know where you will fall until you take the time to honor both your and your partner's ideas, emotions, and perspectives. After some discussion, you may just decide to consider polyamory. Despite how foreign it sounds to you now, polyamory has saved many relationships where each person loves each other, but the relationship wasn't meeting everyone's needs in the way that the relationship should if it's the singular relationship. This might be a shift that benefits both you and your partner. Ultimately, the most important thing about maintaining relationships and scaling conflict is trust and communication. Whatever choice you make should be your truth. Your partner also has to live with their truth. I hope both of your truths can coexist. And I am also confident that each of you will find your own paths if the answer leads you to separation.